Hello and welcome back to Blackwatch Intel. My name is Crashy, and today we are going to be discussing Reaper. Now, Reaper is a hero that I never really thought was going to get this far out of meta, and he's definitely one of the weaker, if not the weakest, offense hero currently. Now, I'm going to be making a video on Sombra in the coming future, in the foreseeable future, because I do want to talk about her and how to bring value out of her to the team and what exactly she's good for. But today we're taking a look at Reaper, and seriously, in the offense category, Reaper is very underwhelming, and I think the rise of Reaper during the, I think it was season 2 Beyblade meta with the on a speed boost and Reaper Death Blossom was really when Reaper was at his peak, and everybody understands the fact that Reaper is going to be a strong pick against tanks and kind of the triple tank meta, and he was just overall a decent hero to use. He has a really strong ultimate, and that's something about Reaper that is not going to change. He's not a bad hero to use. He has a good ultimate. He is a little bit mobile, and if you look at the offense tree, and this is something that was actually brought to my attention kind of in a video done by Nateson, the number one thing that the majority of offense characters have over the defense characters is the mass amount of mobility that they bring, just as a character on the team. You have Genji, you have Tracer, and there's just a lot of mobility. Soldier being able to run, McCree being able to do his role, and so there's a lot of mobility on that tree. And Reaper, while he does have his Wraith form and his teleport, he more often than not just feels very clunky and kind of slow. And I think that's the number one complaint everyone has with playing Reaper, is that he just doesn't feel like he can get there to do his role. Now, you are going to be watching some footage of an end of season, ranked game or a competitive match where I play Reaper, and I'm not doing poorly on purpose, but I really just couldn't get there, and I really couldn't bring the potential of Reaper out. And it's something that I guess you would have to kind of pamper. You would have to have a very, Reaper specific team comp, having the Lucio ready for speed boost and doing maybe some form of dive with Reaper, or even just kind of like a death ball behind the Reinhardt speed boost shield. But it just feels really poor to play him. He brings a very unfun experience to the DPS role when playing Reaper. So what do we do with Reaper? I think the number one thing, again, that everyone kind of complains about is the lack of mobility. So we need to speed Reaper up in this, really heavy dive meta that we see very often, and even just the, speed boost, Reinhardt, kind of death ball meta. It feels very fast. There's a lot of verticality. Pharah Mercy is on a rise, with the changes to Soldier 76, not helping that. So what do we do? How do we get value out of Reaper? Well, one thing about Reaper to me that stands out in his character design is just that, his character design. He's this menacing, scary, horrifying type character that, with the ability to wraith around, become invulnerable, and teleport around, I see him and view him very much so as a kind of scary close range flanker. And I do think that's where he gets a lot of value. The problem is, again, executing on that and being able to physically perform those actions, physically get into the position that you want to be in to drop down and pop Death Blossom, or to drop behind an enemy and, rain those shotgun shots into their back to try to get a quick 2 or 3 shot kill. So how do we speed him up? Well, I think a lot of people have proposed adding a speed boost to his Wraith form, and I think that's not a bad option. We did just get the quality of life change on him to have him reload during his Wraith form, which is cool. It really doesn't change anything about the character at all, because by the time you did a Wraith form, you could have just reloaded, so more often than not, you're not using the Wraith form for reloading anyways, but, decent quality of life change just in case. But what else can we do? I think we could see a speed boost increase during his Wraith form. I definitely think that's something that could be explored, and maybe nothing significant, 25% increase boost, I don't know, maybe even 50% increase speed boost, because that could help him. It could definitely help his survivability as well. I propose that we decrease the amount of time it takes for his teleport to actually resolve. Now, what would that do for him? That would make him I think, a much better flanker. And on top of that, we may have to look into having them reduce the voice line audio as well. I mean, that's something that we saw was an issue for Sombra, you know, while she was leaving her teleport and basically, you know, yelling out to the enemy team, hey, here I am. But I definitely think that could be a fun change for him. I want Reaper to feel like, you know, I don't know, maybe every 8 seconds he can teleport very quickly, and I want it to feel like you have to have your head on a swivel with Reaper. I don't want you to feel like you always know where he is and you can just walk away from him. I don't want it to feel like Genji Tracer, where you can track them easily, their movement, but you know you have to look up and behind the cover to find the Genji. I want it to feel like if you haven't seen Reaper in a while, you really need to spin around. You really need to take your time and think about what flank routes, where would he have teleported, what is he going to be jumping off of, and find a place for Reaper that feels like an instant, you know, Pharah pick isn't going to just automatically counter him and force him to swap. Make him make the moves on his own and allow the enemy team to be reactive to it. So that's my thoughts. I think it could be really fun to see a very fast resolving teleport with like an 8-second cooldown on Reaper. I think it could be a little too strong, but that would be something that would have to be tested on the PTR, something that the developers would have to look into. And these are just my thoughts here on Blackwatch Intel. So thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'm hoping to just keep the channel growing, hoping to try to post daily content, still looking for a creator to join me here on the team. But please do not leave without leaving a like, and I will see you on the next video.